Okay, so once we configure our AWS CLI, if I press AWS, then you should have it configured by now. We did all the configuration in the last videos, and right now, like I said in the last video, this is a EC2 instance that I have an admin role, so I can, without pasting the AWS credentials in the AWS configure, as you can see, I don't have an access key ID. It says none. I don't have a secret access key. Now the region I'm gonna set as US East 1, and the default output I'm gonna say table. So I'm gonna demonstrate that without having access key ID and secret access key. I'm going to say AWS S3 ls. So this is how to list my bucket. You can list your buckets by saying AWS S3 ls. Super easy. Now you can say AWS MB make bucket S3 and my test bucket nov. All right, let's do something simple. So November 4 test, right? Oops. So AWS S3 MB this, right? So I get a confirmation saying make bucket. So if I say AWS S3 ls, then you can see November 4 test bucket is already there. So what I can do is I can also say AWS S3 ls, and instead of just saying this and getting this, all the list of the buckets, I can say list. So I'm gonna clear this screen first and come down a little bit. So AWS S3 list, find the name of the bucket, and let me try to go to one of those buckets. So how about my AWS course or Elastic Beanstalk or this one, right? Let's see what's in this one. So AWS S3 ls, I'm going to say S3 / name of the bucket. All right, so those things are inside the bucket. So not only I can list the name of the buckets, I can go inside and list the objects of the bucket. Now we're going to do something more useful now. Okay, so I'm going to say currently I'm in my EC2 user directory home. I'm going to make a directory called documents. Okay, so I have a directory called documents, and I'm going to go into that documents. So if I go to the documents and say list, there's nothing in here. I don't have anything in here. So but what I can do is I can say I could say something like a touch file 1 to 10. So I'm creating files from 1 to 10, right? I'm just creating empty files for now. So I can say AWS S3 ls, right? I just want to see the name of my buckets again. So I just want to copy the name of the bucket that I want to work with, November 4 test, copy AWS S3, copy file 1. So this is the file 1 on my local folder, and I'm going to copy this to S3, name of my bucket, right? So upload. So if I go to my S3 and go to the nov4 test, then I have the file right here. Okay, so now this is just copying one file. Now what I can do is, let's say from my, let's say I have I don't know, hello.rtf, right? So I upload this file to my S3 bucket. So I have a hello.rtf on my S3 bucket. So I could pull that to this machine by saying AWS S3 copy S3 slash hello.rtf, and I'm going to say dot, which says this directory, enter. Okay, so if I do ls, then these are the files that I created myself, and this is the file that I downloaded from the S3 bucket. So far we're just copying back and forth. Now this is the really cool one. So what I can do is I only have 2 files in my S3 bucket. So what I can do is I have a lot of files in my local folder. So I can say AWS S3 sync everything in my local folder that says dot is my local folder with S3 now for a test, right? So I just synced everything on my folder with this, right? And instead of a dot, I could have said the actual directory name or any other directory. So I'm just saying sync this directory with my bucket. Now if I go to my bucket, I have all these files waiting for me. So that's really useful. Now I'm going to make it even more useful. But let's do a few things first. Okay, so right now the storage class is standard, and the files they're not public, right? They're private. I have to make them public. So what I'm gonna do is go to my bucket, delete everything. So more, delete. So the bucket is empty. Now I'm gonna say AWS sync, actually AWS S3 sync everything in my bucket. Everything in my local folder, right? I'm gonna sync everything to my S3 bucket, right? But not only this, but we will add some parameters, some arguments. So we will say, actually I have the, okay, so we could say something like storage class. Why don't we make the storage class to infrequent access? So I could say, oops. So I could say I want this to be infrequent access. So I add this piece of code, this piece of line text, storage class standard IA, and I can also say stuff like ACL public read. Yeah. So right now, as you could see, it wasn't public. So I could say ACL public read. This will give public access to everything I upload. But then okay, so let's check our folder, our bucket, I mean. So you can see storage class is now infrequent access, right? This is, we don't want to access this as much as like a standard bucket. So infrequent access, this is my backup, let's say, So not only that, I can now, it's not letting me. So if I look at the permission, actually let's do this. So I'm gonna create a new file. I'm gonna say echo hello everyone, and write this to a file called hello.txt. I'm gonna do the same thing, and I'm gonna say hello.sh, right? So I've made 2 files. If I do this, then you can see I have 2 files. Now I'm gonna do the same sync one more time, right? I'm gonna do the same sync command with infrequent access, and I'm gonna say exclude everything that has a .sh extension, right? So this, and all right, let's try this. Okay, so as you can see, the only thing that was uploaded was hello.txt. hello.sh was not included. But if I remove the exclude.sh, then now it is included. Okay, so we're gonna try out one last thing. If I go and refresh and I press on hello and link, then this is public now, right? This is public because we said ACL public read. So that's something that could be very helpful, but we're gonna take it to the next level. Okay, next level. So for that, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna write a script that checks this folder for any new files, and it will upload any new files every single minute. Now I don't want to do this because this will be an overkill. I probably won't be adding files every single minute to a folder, but for demo for this video, you know, we don't have a long time to wait. So I'm gonna create a scheduled task that and write a script that uploads anything new every single minute to my S3 bucket. Okay, so just for demo, I'm gonna say I don't know. So I'm gonna write a script cd ... right? So I've already written this script sync.sh, right? So I'm gonna make a new one. Now I've come out to my EC2 user directory. I'm gonna write vim sync. So the script that we need to do that is this, right? Now this is saying this is a bash script, and AWS S3 sync documents to the name of our bucket. Now I obviously have to change the name of the bucket, so I'm going to copy this and we're going to make a new script file. Okay, so I'm going to say vim sync 1.sh, okay, and I'm going to do I for insert, copy. Now the name of our bucket was nov4test, right? It's not copy file sorav anymore. That's my name, by the way, sorav. So oops, I think so documents, so S3 sync documents all right, this is not working. So nov4test, November 4 test. Okay, so this is the name of my oh, actually, so I want to sync to this to S3 nov4test. Okay, so escape WQ. So WQ will save the file, enter. Okay, so what I want to do is have a cron. Right, so far this sync1 is just a file, right? Sync1 is only a file. So if I say cat sync1, it's only a file, nothing else. It's just file with that says it's a bash script, but it's not even executable. So to do that, what we need to do is chmod 500 5 stands for I want to give this executable and read permissions, right? So I'm giving an executable permission to this file. To do this, I say sync1.sh. Right now, the sync1 is an executable file. Now, what I will do is I will say cron tab. Cron tab is used to schedule tasks on your machine. So cron tab -e, enter. And I already have something, right? The sync is my old, is something I already have. I can have more than one stuff. So I'm gonna say star. If you don't know cron job, then this is a way to schedule stuff. And if I say star something, right? If I say home/ec2 user/sync1.sh, our file is sync1, not sync, right? Sync is my old file. So sync1. If I say this, then what this is saying is that I want this file to execute every minute of every day and every hour, every day, every month, and every day of the week. But what I can do is, if I say I want this to execute every minute, if I say star/1 star, if I do this, then I can say I want to execute this every minute. Okay, I'm gonna escape, WQ. Now let's say that I want to, upload everything that I put on my documents folder to S3, right? Everything. It's like an automatic backup that's regularly done every minute. In this case, I don't want it to be every minute, but this is only for this video. So I'm gonna change. So I'm gonna change to my documents folder, and I'm going to create a few more files. I'm gonna say touch is for creating a new file. I'm gonna say new file test. Right now, if we did everything correctly, then that should be here in the next minute, right? So 12:13, the time is 2:20. There we go. So it just went from 13 to 14. So new file test is uploaded, right? So if I add anything in here, anything, right, in this folder. So this is like an automated backup to an S3. And obviously I can say in my script that I want it to be infrequent access or reduce redundancy, or if I want it public or private, or put in glacier, that all that kind of stuff. So to review, what we did was we copied some files, we synced our folders in S3, and we wrote a script that will let us kind of like a drive that is synced on the cloud, right? We synced with something on the cloud. Every minute it will check and it will sync stuff on the cloud. So this is for Linux, and yeah, you can do something like this on Windows as well, I think, but I know the Linux and Mac way. So if you want to try this out, then go ahead and try this. And if you know how to do it on Windows, then there must be something. I'll try to find the way on Windows, and I'll try to upload this. But for now, we will have only the Linux and Mac way. So in the next video, we'll do this kind of CLI stuff with other services like EC2. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.